Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Chopping It Up with Mar, and I am your host, Mar. Today we got a special guest. I'm here with my guy, Quentin Lake.
What
How
up,
you
dog?
doing, my guy?
Good, man. Good, man.
Man, I appreciate your time. Chopping it up with Mar, man. Thank you for sitting down with me tonight, man.
Of course, bro.
How's your holidays going, bro?
But it was good. We had practice, so that was kind of. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But it was cool. After that, was able to see my family.
Okay. You got a demanding schedule?
Yeah, demanding schedule. We got a Saturday game this week, so
Okay.
like it would have been different if we had a game on Sunday. I probably could have had that whole day off. They probably would have gave us that whole day off, but since our game's on Saturday, they pushed everything, and the week's a little bit shorter. So
Yeah, it's a short week.
it's a short week.
Okay. So, Q,
What up, man?
tell us about your journey to the NFL and what inspired you to pursue football?
Football always been a passion of mine. If y'all don't know, my dad played in the league for like 13 years, and that was
Okay.
like my role model growing up.
What's your pop's name for the ones that want to do the research?
For the old heads, yeah. So it's Carnell Lake. He played for the Steelers from '88 to '98, and then played for Jacksonville for 2 years, and then played for the Ravens. But yeah, he was my role model growing up. So I always knew I had a passion for football. But it was crazy. Like basketball was my first love.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to be a hooper, but
Oh, wow.
I ended up getting hurt playing basketball. So I was like, all right, football is just the next best option.
How old were you when you got hurt playing basketball?
I was in the 8th grade, going into my freshman year of high school. I had torn my ACL when I was young, and I was like,
Oh,
dang.
wow.
Yeah, I was like, dang, like. I was scared.
That's hard to deal with at a
I
young
know.
age, ain't it?
I know. I was scared to go back playing basketball after I heard it. And I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to stick with this football thing. And ended up going to Modern Day. And like at Modern Day, you can't, like people have tried to play two sports, but
Yeah.
you can't do it.
It's hard to be a two-sport athlete
Yeah.
at a school that's so dominant
Yeah,
in a lot of this, a lot that they do.
Yeah, you can't do that. So didn't even play my freshman year. Like it was hard. Like I wasn't around the team. Like it was hard to make friends.
You was still coming in like rehabbing, or was you already 100% at that time?
Nah, I was still coming back.
Okay.
I was still coming back, rehabbing a little bit. But it wasn't even through the school. Like I would go somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Played JV my sophomore year, and then ended up like crazy. One of my best friends, he was a starter in front of me. He ended up getting hurt, and then they put me in for the first game. Had a good game. I had like a couple PBUs and a pick, and then the rest was history. Ended up the next year, my seniors, I had 8 picks that year too. That was crazy.
Oh, wow.
And then some colleges were interested. Had like a lot of the West Coast schools, and then it ended up being between UCLA and USC.
Okay.
And I had both. Like I had 2 phones. I was like, dang, I don't know which one I'm gonna call.
I got 2 phones.
Man, for real. And it was funny because I'm like, everybody was telling me, man, you're going to UCLA because of your dad.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that was a little bit of a factor, but UCLA just felt like home. It really did.
So real quick, let me ask you this. How was your recruiting process coming out of Modern Day? So were you like a highly sought out recruit?
Bro,
were you like a 4 or 5 star?
No, I was a
No?
3-star.
You were a 3-star?
And
Okay.
I was with Osiris.
Osiris St. Brown.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
Brew McCoy.
Brew.
Nico Remigio, like JT Daniels. Like there were
Wow.
dudes like when the coaches would come, they're looking at those.
Yeah.
Guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not looking at us.
Yeah.
But to have that experience of going against guys like that consistently.
Did that inspire you? Was that like a challenge for you? Where you was like, man, you know what? I'm just as good, or I deserve more praise or recognition. Like, where were you at mentally at that moment?
I mean, mentally I was good. I always knew I was good, but I wasn't really thinking like, oh, like I'm gonna play college ball. Like I was just in the moment.
You didn't get caught up with the stars and the hype and all that?
Nah, well, a little bit, but it happened in like 7-on-7.
Okay.
Because like 7-on-7 was like everybody would go to like the club team and this and that, and you would see all these dudes 4 and 5 stars on one team. And you're like, damn, I'm just as good. Like,
Right.
why can't I be on that team and stuff like
Right.
that? So it was funny. There was a 7-on-7 tournament in Orange County, and man, you name everybody and the mama was down there, like, and everybody was going at it, and I'm sitting here like I was with like a makeshift team. I don't even remember the team, like.
Just a put together. Yeah, they put it together that weekend.
Honestly, like it was really like a put together team, and I'm like, man, I could go play with all them boys over there. But other than that, the recruiting process was cool. Like I think 7-on-7 helped a little bit.
Who all came after you? Who all did you get offers from?
So I think I got offers from Hawaii, Illinois, UCLA, USC, San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State. Man, it's been so long. But I had like 10, 15 plus offers.
And cool. So who were in the top 3? Who were like you considering?
I'm gonna be honest, it was only UCLA and USC.
Oh, that was
Once
it?
I got those two, I was like, it was done.
Okay.
Yeah.
When did they come in the picture? Early? Later?
Late. So I actually had to go to 2 camps to get those offers. Like some dudes, you just get the offer.
Right.
Me, I was like, shit, I gotta go to a skills camp. Ended up doing good at both those camps, and then after the camps, they offered me. For the USC one, some dudes got the offer after half of the day. I had to stay there for the whole day.
Wow.
Feet was bleeding, like it was bad, bro. It was
Dang.
But they ended up,
So they just putting you through drills, or what are they trying to see from you?
They're trying to see, like, one-on-ones was the biggest thing.
Okay.
So, they like to see your footwork and all that stuff, but if you're able to do it against like a live opponent, that's really what they're looking for.
Okay. They want to see the actual action.
Yeah, they want to see the action. So
okay.
Yeah, man, and then ended up choosing UCLA. It was close, but chose UCLA. Played a little bit my freshman year at UCLA. Got to start my sophomore year. And then my junior year, I got hurt. Senior year was COVID. And then I'm like, man, I didn't really get to show everybody what I really wanted to do. So I stayed another year, did a 5th year at UCLA. Ended up balling out.
So you did 5 years in college?
I did 5 years of college.
Okay.
And then ended up balling out my last year. Shit, and then got drafted to the Rams, and the rest is history. Man.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How did your experience at UCLA shape your development as a player and a person?
That's tough, because I feel like I'm a little bit different from everybody else because I have my dad. But
so you was able to stay grounded?
I was able to stay grounded. I was never like, ooh, I'm finna go crazy, I'm finna party and all that stuff. Like, I always knew, kept the main thing, which was get to the league.
Okay.
But I would say, like, just being from SoCal, like, kind of knowing the area, having family in LA, like, it was really easy. Like, the transition wasn't hard, and then ended up making, some really dope friends at UCLA, which helped me stay out of trouble, too.
You went through a coaching change at UCLA.
Yeah,
so how was that? Was it detrimental at all? Did it kind of hurt your stock? Did it help your stock? Like,
I think
adjusting to coaches later in your college career, did that help, hurt you? Where was that?
So at first I had Jim Moore, then I had Coach Kelly. And I'm gonna be honest, what Coach Kelly did at UCLA, there needs to be a 30 for 30. Like, there gotta be like a 60-minute or 30 for 30, because
y'all hear it, we need a 30 for 30.
When he came in, 70 players were gone. Like that year, like he got everybody up.
He ran a lot of people out, right?
He did.
Yeah.
And Coach Kelly was super cool to me. Like, he was a dope coach to me, treated me like a pro, like, respect him. But going through so many coaching changes, like, over my career, it's sometimes hard to transition. Like, I know for some of my teammates it was tough. For me, it was like, you're really just dealing with another coach.
Were you concerned at all? Like, maybe your playing time may be in jeopardy, or maybe, hell, you may not fit their style. So, they may bring another player in to challenge you.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I didn't have that problem. Like, for the most part, everybody that they brought in, like, all the coaches, they liked me,
Okay.
So that, like, my situation was pretty smooth. Like,
right.
New coach came in, and at the end of the day, like, it's going to be your play on the football field that matters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Regardless of who you are as a
some players
person,
didn't get a chance to get on the field and play, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some players, either they prematurely left or maybe the coaches just told him, hey, man, we already seen film or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
You know, it probably was different, like you said. Yeah. So going back to you getting drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, how did you feel when you first heard you was getting drafted by the LA Rams?
Man,
how was that situation?
Nah, it was a blessing, really. I was at home at my house in Irvine with my immediate family.
Okay.
And at the time, like, I didn't even think it was going to be the Rams, I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to be...
You had no communication?
Not really, no. Like, I did, like, this little questionnaire. Like, they asked you a couple questions about, you know, football, your personal life, your family, all that stuff. But other than that, I didn't really have a lot of communication. And I really, like, it's crazy because at the time, I'm talking to my agent, and he was saying, like, the Patriots like you, the Dolphins like you, and the Raiders like you. I'm like, all right, bet. Like, cool.
Damn, Raiders.
I know, no, this is crazy though too.
Damn, Raiders.
So the Raiders DB coach called me and he's like, hey, you know, if you're up the next pick, we're gonna pick you. I'm like, that. Like, so I'm thinking like, oh shit, I'm going to the Raiders, like for real.
My guy could have been a Raider.
That would have been wild. And then, so I'm looking at the screen, and when he said the pick came up, they didn't pick me. So I'm like, bet.
Do you know who they picked? Or do you remember?
I think they picked like an offensive lineman.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, bet, like for sure. So
it's business.
Yeah, I'm like, it's business. And I knew I wasn't going to get drafted.
Bad business, but it is what it is.
I knew I wasn't going to get drafted the first or second round. So I'm like, day 3, I'm just, waiting. And then, I end up getting a call. And whenever, for the dudes that are going through the whole draft process and are waiting on draft day, like, some people get a lot of phone calls and this and that, but it's like, bro, you can't even imagine, like, you'll get a random phone number and be like, oh my God, you're like praying to God that it's a team, like, yeah, you're just like, oh my God, I hope this number is like an NFL football team.
So who calls you first?
So the Raiders called me first.
No, I'm talking about as far as like, where these random numbers coming from? Is it like a coach? Is it an agent from a different phone?
Nah, you put your phone, like all the teams will ask you for your phone number.
Okay.
And so, really, whoever really has access to you on that day. Like, for me, it wasn't, like, nobody was pranking me. Nobody was doing all that. Like,
because we hear about that happening.
Yeah, but for me, it was pretty smooth. Like, okay. I kind of knew because it was an unfamiliar number. The only thing you're worried about is, like, if you get a spam call or something.
Okay.
You know how you get those spam calls?
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was worried about. But when the Rams called me, picked it up, it was our GM at the time, Les Snead. He said, "Hey man, we're gonna pick you with our next pick. So happy to get you, on our squad and with the team." And then he said, "Hey, I'm gonna get you on with your new head coach." Handed the phone to Coach McVay, and Coach McVay was like, "Hey man, I'm so happy we got you." And I was like, "Thank you, Coach. Thank you for taking a chance." And this is something I really didn't remember. He's like. We're not taking a chance on you. We believe in you. I was like, wow, that means a lot. You feel me?
Wow.
So, to hear that on the phone, I was like, I knew I was in a good spot. I was with a good organization, and
that's a strong statement.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it sound personal. Sound like they did some research.
Yeah.
Or they got some clarity when they came to call your name, because a lot of coaches or a lot of organizations come out and they draft guys, but when they make it personal, I know it feels good because you dreamed of that moment and you seen it come to fruition. Mm-hmm. So what did it mean being drafted by the hometown team, man? What did it mean for you being drafted by the Los Angeles Rams?
No, it was crazy. At first, you kind of don't realize, like, dang, I'm really at home. Like, I can go see my family, my friends, like. Shit, even my teammates at UCLA, I could stay in touch with them. So the transition.
Keep in touch with your barber.
Yeah, exactly.
You feel me?
That's flex. That's flex.
Yeah.
So, man, how long has it been? What, like?
Fuck,
it's been 3 years. Like, no, more than that.
Well, I was cutting you at UCLA for a little bit, on and off. Schedules kind of conflict, and then I think right when. I don't know when DeLon and DTR were staying together. Yeah. I think that's when we kind of got back in the loop.
Mm-hmm. And then when I
And
got
then
drafted,
right when you came out there to get ready for the combine.
that's right.
And then once you got ready for the combine, we've been locked in ever since.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So that's been, about 3.5 years,
That's
man.
crazy.
Yeah, man. So we've been rocking, man, and I kind of seen the progression. And I know your rookie year, it kind of really wasn't expected. What was the toughest thing you went through your rookie year?
I was going through a lot of injuries.
Injuries?
Yeah, so like coming out in the draft, I had 2 knee surgeries, and I knew I had to get back surgery after the season. And so, like, for me, a lot of the times, if my physical well-being isn't good, like it affects my mental.
Okay.
You know? And I think that's really for anybody.
That's a lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, but so I was dealing with that. I didn't play half my rookie season because I was dealing with my knee, but ended up coming back, played 9 games, and then I was like, man, I gotta get my, I gotta get my back like fixed or something, and ended up getting the surgery on that. Best surgery I've ever had, like instant pain relief.
Was it your first surgery or?
No, that was my 4th.
Okay, damn.
But yeah, like now I feel really good, like all that stuff. But that was the biggest thing. Like it was the injuries early on. That was the toughest obstacle that I
Did you deal with any injuries in college that kind of had the same feeling or effect, or was this the first time you ever had to go through something like this?
This was really the first time I had to go through something like this. Like I broke my wrist, but you still can like practice, move around, run. But when you deal with like
A back.
lower body stuff or a back, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So like to be able to overcome that obstacle and now like be where I am now, like.
Well, I mean, going through injuries and stuff like that, you actually had to climb the depth chart, right? You actually had to. It wasn't like you had your playing time given to you, like they was waiting for you to get on the field and play. You actually had to physically scrape and scratch to get in that position. So going into year 2, we already have our surgery, right? And now we going into training camp. So what were you at going into training camp? What were you 50, 60, 70%? Were you 100%?
Going into training camp, I was 100%.
So you were 100% your second year going in. Okay. And how'd that camp work out for you?
I was balling that camp.
Did you learn a lot? Did you feel like, did you see like a light, like you know what I mean, I made it? Or were you just trying to just get through the moment?
I think for me, I was just happy I was healthy.
Okay.
And I was like,
just appreciating the game?
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna have to make them put me on the field. I'm healthy, I'm running around, and I was like, to get somebody's attention, you gotta make a play. And that was my only goal that training camp was just make plays and let the cards fall where they may.
Were there veterans ahead of you, or was that position open?
I thought that position was up for grabs.
Okay.
I felt like I had a really good camp and I was competing, but they decided to go a different way, which was fine. But I still told myself, I was like, you still got to make something shake, because I knew what I wanted, and what I wanted was to be a starter at some point.
Right.
And I was like, look, if I get on the field, however many snaps it is, just go out there and make a play, and then eventually, somebody's going to have to put you in the game.
Yeah, right. And you got to make it hard for the coaching staff.
And that's kind of what ended up happening that year.
You say you got to give them a reason to play you, not to play you. You know what I'm saying? So, so how'd your second season go?
Second season was good. Didn't have
you
a lot
got
of
through
snaps.
Injury-free?
Yeah, got through injury-free. Snap count was okay. I ended up starting the second half of the season, which was
okay.
Good.
Nice. Was that due to injury, or was that due because you actually earned it? You was balling?
I was balling.
For sure.
I was balling. I was making plays, and was able to start.
And you guys were in playoff position last year at this time, right?
We were 3-6 halfway through the season.
Okay.
And then ended up going 7-1 after the bye.
Ooh.
So we were on a heater.
A tear.
Man, we were on a heater.
Putting pressure on the whole league.
Yeah.
Everybody that y'all played.
Yeah. And so that was cool, like, to make it to the first time to the playoffs in my second year.
Right. And to be starting.
And to be starting too.
And actually have an impact on the game.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what a lot of people strive for, is to not only play, but to have an impact on the game and be a part of what's going on. And it gotta be rewarding when you actually earn that. And, you know, it doesn't come because of injury or, you know, maybe that coach like you or whatever the case is. So going into year 3, man, ball out. Year 2, finish the season. Y'all go strong. Now we here, man. Man, listen. I was happy as hell for you, Q, when I found out you was a captain of the defense, bro.
That was crazy.
Like going just like hearing your story from year 1, year 2. Now we hear year 3, bro. You put the pressure on the coaching staff and the organization to say, hey, man, we got to play this kid. He needs to be on the field. You come into training camp year 3. Did you come in knowing that you had a chance to be a captain? Was that like a goal? Like, how'd that transpire? Talk to me about that.
You know what's crazy? It was never really a goal. I had like goals I set for the season, but my goal was never like I didn't know about the cap. I knew they wanted me to be like a leader, like I was an older one, and I was one of the older guys on the defense. You know, kind of had a little bit of experience, but when they told me captain, I was like, damn, that's wild. Like, you know, that just goes to show like the hard work, effort that was put in. You know, it ended up rewarding me. So.
Have you ever been a captain at any level?
Yeah, I was
high school,
I was
college?
captain high school and college.
High school and college was a captain? Yeah. So who was the first person you called when you found out you was a captain?
After I got called, after they voted me for captain, I called my dad. I grabbed my phone, went back to the locker room, grabbed my phone, and I said, hey, Pop, they just voted me for captain. And he was like, dang, that's such an honor. And
do they make that special for you guys? Walk me through that moment, man. I want to know how that moment is.
Yeah, so it's different for every team, but for us, they give ballots to all the players, and it's all players. Like the players vote for the captains.
Okay, so that means you got respect in the locker room.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. And then, they ended up voting for me on the defensive side. But yeah, you kind of vote. You vote 3 people on offense, 3 people on defense. And, you know, they ended up voting me, which was like, it was so dope. And I wasn't.
Was it like at practice in the locker room?
Yeah, they announced it after practice.
On the field?
On the field.
Okay.
And so that was cool. And like, you know, everybody's congratulating you and stuff like that.
Finally get the C on your chest?
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing too. That's cool. It was so dope. Like, to be able to have the respect from the players, coaches, staff, all that stuff, and then even now, like, you know, to have a good season, you know, leading, you know, a young defense, like, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
Right. So as a safety, you have a lot of responsibility on the field. So how do you prepare yourself mentally for each game, man?
It just comes with film study. Like, for me, that's just like my homework, like studying the opponent, you know, getting little clues of here and there of, you know, where can you make your plays, where can you put yourself in a better position to make plays, and then also like being able to communicate different things to your teammates.
So when you watch film, are you just watching your position? Are you watching the whole field? What are you looking at when you're watching film?
I really just key in on what the offense likes to do.
Okay.
So, you know, that week I'll go and just study, like, what does the offense like to do? Who are the main playmakers? You know, what personnel do they like? Do they like the, you know, deep shots down the field? So there's a lot you can study, and sometimes it's hard to take all that information in. But what I like to do is, let me just take 4 or 5 things that I know, like, these are things I can definitely take into the game, and if I see it, you know, go make a play.
Right.
Because that just helps my mind kind of settle down a little bit. Because if you go out there and you're thinking about everything, like you're not gonna make any
Yeah.
plays. Like you're just thinking too much.
Yeah, your adrenaline is already going,
Yeah.
so you got to learn how to calm yourself down so you
Exactly.
could just play the game.
Exactly.
So, I mean, a lot of people just say, oh, you've been playing this game since you was a kid. But as you get older into this level, on this higher level, it's more of a chess game. So it's bigger than what you were doing when you were, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
So do you have to learn how to enjoy watching film? Or like, where does film come in for a lot of athletes?
I think film, it just depends on what you like to watch. Like, some dudes, and it also depends on your position. Like
Okay.
I'm not gonna watch the same thing as a D lineman,
Right.
or a linebacker. Like,
Facts.
a corner's gonna watch, releases. Like if he's going against a good receiver, he's gonna watch the releases. What plays does, what certain routes does he run, all that stuff.
Tendencies, all that.
My thing is, I kind of look at more concepts. So, like, what concepts do the offense like to run? Where are they trying to attack the field? Are they, do they like to attack the field over the middle of the field? Do they like to throw goal balls to the receivers? Like, at the end of the day, to make it really simple, if they have good receivers, you kind of key in on that. Like, for me, for example, like, or for a team that has good receivers, let's just say, like, when we just played the Jets, like, we know for a fact Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, they're going to try and get on the ball some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So then you just be like, okay, how are they trying to get on the ball? When do they like to get on the ball? And then what route concepts are their favorite routes they like to run? And those are like simple things that you can be like, okay, that'll give you a better idea of, what's going to happen in the game.
Right. Okay. So how does a game day look for you?
Away or home?
Home. Let's start home and then away.
Home? Okay. So home's simple. Like, we'll go to the hotel the night before.
Okay.
Get dinner and then wake up, have breakfast. Depending on when we play, if we play at night, we'll have meetings. If we play during the day, then it's breakfast for me. I wake up, get a little breakfast, head to the facility, and then that's when I do all my stuff. I'll stretch, change, hot tub, IV, and then I'll go warm up, and then shit, it's game time after that. And then I listen to the same playlist every time.
How early are you at the facility, or are you at the compound?
I get there about maybe like 2.5 hours before the game.
2.5 hours early? Do you have any superstitions?
Man,
Do you take the same route? Do you like wear the same undershirt? Do you,
I used to.
they said Michael Jordan wears college basketball shorts under his NBA shorts his whole career.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, look that up. They said Michael Jordan, that was one of his superstitions.
That's wild.
So his North Carolina practice shorts, he would wear underneath his game shorts every game. So when he was busting niggas' ass, he had that North Carolina shit on underneath that. But you have any superstitions?
I wouldn't say I have a superstition. I mean, I guess you can say my routine is superstitious though. Like, I do the same routine every game.
Every game?
Every game.
Okay.
So every time I go out on the field, I jog a lot. I do the same warm up, and then I do the same drills every time. Like, no matter where we go, home or away, I always jog a lot. And I always like to touch the pylons.
All four of them?
All four of them. I touch the pylons, all four of them. So I guess that's my little superstition. I'm not like, I gotta eat this in the morning, or I gotta have this meal, or like, I'm not crazy like that. I used to be like, I have to drink my Pedialyte and I have to have the same thing before every, like, nah, I'm not like that. I'm not like that anymore.
So, top 5 songs on your playlist before a game?
Man, it's changed over the years.
This
now,
season.
I'll give you top 3. So top 3, it's been 200 for Lunch by Gunna. It's been, so I listen to a lot of Playboi Carti, and it's been Flatbed Freestyle by Playboi Carti. And then my last one, let's see, what do I listen to? What do I listen to the most? I gotta check my playlist, let me see. It gotta be, recently it's been Squabble Up or TV Off by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
So those have been like my go-to.
I can see it again, hype you up a little bit, turn you up a little bit. So let me ask you this. Who on your team do you turn to for advice? And what's the best piece of advice that you think they gave you?
Man, who do I turn to for advice? I'd probably say,
Or let's just say
no,
not
that's a good one.
advice.
I'd probably say either, so there's an O lineman and there's a tight end. Tyler Higbee or Rob Havenstein, they've been in the league a long time, played for the Rams a long time.
Okay.
And, you know, those guys, they've been able to be in the league because not only to play on the field, but how they take care of their bodies.
Nice.
And that was kind of like my thing is, you know, kind of understanding that you have to invest in your body.
Right.
You know, your best ability is availability.
Yes, sir.
And so kind of understanding that, you know, you might have to sacrifice a couple of dollars just to make sure that, you know, whether it's a massage or chiropractor or like you name it, there's so many different things out there that you can do now.
Right.
But, you know, making sure that you're spending the money so that your body's okay and that you're recovering fast. And not only that is, you know, make sure that you respect everybody in the building. You know,
Facts.
you never know who's watching, whether it's a janitor, whether it's a lunch lady, like everybody talks to everybody.
Right.
And you want to make sure that you're respected, but you're also treating, you know, everybody, you know,
Equally.
Equally and the same. So
Facts. That's very important.
I think that's like, those are, because a lot of dudes, like, they'll get in trouble. It might not be their play on the field, but, you know, it might be their image off the field or how they're treating people, you know. You just want to make sure that, you know, you don't have any of those issues so that really you can stay in the league a long time. And
because people talk.
people talk.
And people ask for recommendations. So just because you may not be playing or things may not be going your way, don't mean that you can't get an opportunity somewhere else. So it's not about flashing and wilding out and just blowing up the spot. Sometimes you gotta take one on the chin, know that this opportunity is not for you at the moment. Maybe coaches say, hey, I know somebody in Tampa. You know what I mean? I'll make a phone call for you and you still in the league and you got a job.
Exactly.
But it's hard for some cats because some cats don't necessarily appreciate the blessing because they're not putting in the hard work and dedication that it takes. 'Cause some people are just naturally gifted and skilled, you know what I mean? Some cats, it's a rare percentage, but some of these cats are just naturally gifted, so they don't have to put in certain work that you may have to put in. So when you looking at certain situations, it's like, man, I'm just thankful and grateful to be here. So everybody in the building, I'm gonna treat accordingly, you know what I mean? So as a young player, as a third-year player, how do you approach establishing leadership, you know, with a defense, with veterans on your defense and stuff?
It was hard at first, you know. I'm not a hoorah guy. Like,
Okay.
I'm not the, you know, vocal leadership was something that was never really my forte. Like, I was always, I'm just gonna lead through my actions.
Right.
You know, I want people to respect me for how I play the game, you know, how hard I play. But I think, you know, what I learned this year especially is at some point, you know, you're a captain for a reason and your voice is gonna be heard, you know?
Right.
Like, people are gonna listen when you speak. And so that's something I had to learn this year. It's like, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, you know,
You have to
say
speak up.
something to rally guys around you.
Right. Can you give us a moment this season where you feel like you had to put your arm around a few of your teammates and you guys persevered?
I think, honestly, it was recently, what was that, like 2 weeks ago? We played the 49ers, and, you know, I think it was important. Like, that was a critical game for us to kind of keep our season alive.
Okay.
And, you know, that was probably the most vocal I've been, just making sure guys are tapped in, making sure the energy's up. And it'll be like little things. Like,
Right.
it'll be little things like, you know, here's like saying on the field, like, you know, we got this, or dapping everybody's hands up.
Right.
Or, you know,
Right.
just little things like that. You know, I was never like, I gotta bring the whole team up and do this and do that. Like, nah, like, you know, if I see somebody and, you know, they need an uplifting, I'll go over there and be like, hey man, we got you. Like,
Maybe somebody miss a pick or they
Yeah.
kind of give up a first down or something.
Yeah.
Because the game is long.
It's
So
long,
you
man.
got to kind of get through certain moments. And, you know, as a leader, you got to help your teammates get through those moments. And some players receive it different. Even if you tell somebody and they may not receive it at the moment, you still got to say it.
Yeah.
And you can't take it personal because, you know, it's the heat of the battle and everybody's competing right now. And in competition, you know, a lot of things get said, you know, a lot of feelings get touched and hurt. But as a leader, you know, it's like you're really not trying to make friends, but you do want to be respected.
Yeah.
But you also doing what's greater for the end goal, which is, you know, winning a championship and playing as long as you can in the season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure at the end of the day, when you guys win those games, it's appreciated more than maybe at the moment. You know, so is there any pressure in performing in a high stake game or in a critical moment of a game? Like how do you deal with?
I love those moments. Like,
So that's not pressure towards you?
nah, like it's crazy because like you'll get into like this almost like flow state, like where you're just so tapped in, like you don't even hear the crowd, you don't hear anything, like you're so locked in. So I love those moments. Like Detroit last year when we were in the playoffs, like so locked in.
I'm happy you brought up Detroit, man. And I don't really want to go there, but you know where we go.
Yeah, I know.
And you, my boy, yo, Amon Ross, shout out to Amon Ross, shout out to Quentin Lake. Both of y'all my brothers, man. And the day I found out y'all was gonna play each other, I was geeked, bro. I was happy, man.
Cause I
cut you right
me,
before you left. Yeah, and you know, I just said I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't. I wanted to see both y'all do well, regardless who brought it home.
It's crazy how it ended though too. Like,
man, and that's I'm telling you, bro. Listen, I'm watching the game, bro. And it's the like damn near for game, and you guys are head up, mano y mano. Man, that was like the dope moment. So tell me about that, because for those that don't know, Amon Ross St. Brown, Quentin Lake, they got history. They grew up together. They played football together. They're friends off the field. You know, they have a real tight relationship. So, and they work out in the off season, and there's a lot of competition in the friendship. So going into that game, did you guys talk? Was it one of them silent? Like how was that?
Nah, he was too busy dealing with the Netflix thing, like dyeing his hair and shit.
That is true. But did you know that he was shooting at the time?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't.
But he was just busy.
I didn't even know he dyed his hair for our game, which was crazy. But I had talked. It was crazy because like we would play the game, like we would play Call of Duty together. But
that week?
Yeah, that week. But
week y'all played it.
It might have been that week or the week before.
That's
like,
crazy.
It was wild. So
hey, see guys, they regular people, they human. Yeah. So just because they compete off the field or on the field don't mean they can't be friends off the field.
Yeah. So talked to him a little bit. Obviously I saw him before the game, said what's up.
Out there during warm-ups?
Yeah.
Was it like a little pat on the back, little friendly hug?
We chopped it up. I was like, what's up, bro? Like, how you doing? He said, man, I'm good. I was like, oh man, where your family at? Because I knew he had everybody there. So
yeah.
Saw his brothers. I think I saw his mom and dad. When I was walking down the tunnel, said what's up to them.
Nice.
But yeah, that game was crazy. It was back and forth. Like, ended up going down to the wire. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but.
Did you know you was gonna line up with him once the play was called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
did you ask for that, or did it just happen to work out?
It just happened. Like that's just how it happened.
Okay.
You know? And
so it wasn't like, Coach, I got him.
Nah, it wasn't like. I wasn't like, man, put me on him right now. Like, I wasn't on that. But
called the audible.
Yeah, but I knew like he was always lining them in the slot, and at the time I was playing nickel. So
okay.
We had a little matchup here and there.
Throughout the course of the game?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but mind you, I'm like thinking like it's 2nd and 9, and I'm like, are they gonna run it? Are they not? And then when I saw them break the hood, I'm like, oh shit, it's passed for real. So I'm like, all right, let me tap up. Let me get my, let me 10 toes down. Let me get my cleats in the grass real quick.
So we get up. How far off was you on them?
So I was playing with like 7 yards off, but I was like, this is the thing, and I talked to my dad, I talked to my coaches about this. Like, if they got a first down, regardless of what I did, the game was gonna be over if they got a first down. You know?
Yeah.
Like we didn't have any timeouts, so it was over.
Right, absolutely.
So he runs like a curl, and I'm sitting on it. Like he makes contact, and it's funny because like you'll see it on the clip, or like you'll see it if you.
We gonna post it.
Yeah, if you watch the clip, like I'm sitting it, he makes contact, he pushes off me, and I don't want to hear it, bro, you pushed off me, I don't care. Like they're not gonna call it, but it was a push off me. You can see me like saying like, man, ref, he pushed off me. Whatever. He ended up
I think it was a little slight.
It was a bang bang play, like caught it, tackled, but they ended up getting the first down, and I mean that's all she wrote.
So in a friendly rival, was there any words exchanged after that play, or was it just one of them? Y'all both ran back.
You turned to the sideline, I was like, I'm like, man, it's over. Like, I'm like, damn, there ain't no way that really happened. But
man,
I'm just like, they took like 3 knees, and I'm just looking at the scoreboard. I'm like, damn, we really like
gave that up.
We gave that up, and I felt like it's crazy because like when you have a play like that, you feel like the whole game's lost because of you.
Right.
You know?
Even though it's a long game.
Even though it's a long game,
four-quarter game.
Like a lot of stuff happens when they secure it on you. You feel like, damn, I just lost them the game. You know?
Right.
So I was dealing with that for like a whole month out of the season. I'm like, damn, like what should I have done? This and that.
Slide back a little bit for me.
But you know.
So how long did it take?
Hopefully we see him again.
How long did it take for you guys to talk after that game? Did he?
We talked and we jersey swapped.
So right away y'all talk, jersey swap. That's
It's pretty.
So
like, you're not.
When did he throw his first jab at you? Off season? Or y'all never talked about it?
We never talked about it.
Okay,
we never really talked about it like that.
That's cool. Hey, I'm Marah, you're maturing.
Nah, cause
I know he down to talk shit.
Man, big shit talking. But like when it comes to me, like it's always gonna be it's all love.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, y'all worked out.
We didn't win against each other 100 plus times.
Yeah, that wasn't the first rep. That wasn't the last rep because y'all work out in the summer together.
We talk shit more like when we work out.
Right.
You know. So.
Because I mean, it's more on the line when you're in a game time situation. So I'm sure he was happy to have made that play.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but it's more or less like, thank God it worked, opposed to I knew I was gonna dog him, because that just shows he has respect for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it shows that the team got respect for you too, because they put you in that situation to make the play. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it says a lot about your character by taking that on the chin, because you care about winning and you're passionate about winning. So did that affect anything coming into the season? Like, did you come into the summer like, you know what, I gotta work on certain things in order to make sure that type of stuff don't happen again? Or there was really just absolutely nothing you could do?
I mean, there wasn't a lot I could do, but it was just funny, like, our last game was against Detroit, and our first game this year was against Detroit.
So that was already circled on your calendar.
It was on my mind. So we were training in the summer, and I'm like, it's funny, like, we're working out, whatever. It was like July 4th, like kind of like the last workout before everybody leaves. And I'm like, all right, bro, like, I'm gonna see you. He's like, yep, see you at Ford Field, like. So I'm like, all right, bet, like, let me tap in. And that was a back and forth game this year too, like our first game.
It was
overtime.
Yeah.
He knocked a pick down that if he didn't knock it down, I was gonna pick it and that was gonna be game. And I was like, oh my God, I would have got my get back.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, he knows it too. Like, he knocked it down. I said, you a smart motherfucker for that.
Right. Facts.
So.
And it's crazy because he's a captain too.
Yeah, I know.
So coming into the season, week 1, captain on captain, man.
Going against each other, it was cool.
Man, play high school football together, play Kinsey Cuther in college, and now you guys are playing against each other in the league, man. That's a crazy story, man. That's a beautiful story, man.
It's dope.
Yeah, that's dope. And it's fun. It's good that you guys can laugh about it, have fun with it, even though it probably stink a little bit. It's just something that y'all could always talk about around the campfire.
Yeah. I hope we see him again, man. Like,
well, I mean,
the only way we would see them is they would have to lose to the Vikings. If they lose to the Vikings,
they got them the last game of the season, right? Yeah, because this week I think
that might be for the #1 seed.
They said they were supposed to be playing Hendon Hooker if they beat the Niners this week. So Hendon Hooker will play the week Was it
Oh,
18?
for real?
That's what I read. I don't really know. So,
Well,
but if I guess if they playing for first place, then why would they play any backups?
Yeah, I don't know. Because
Because if they beat the 49ers this week, or do they not have the first? No? Okay.
because so if the Vikings and the Lions both win, they would play for the number 1 seed their last
Last game of the
season.
season. Okay. Makes sense now. Makes sense. So, growing up, did you watch football? Were you like a student of the game other than, being around your pops? Yeah. And if so, who did you watch? Who did you try to emulate your game after?
Growing up, I loved football. I remember watching my first Super Bowl. It was Tom Brady when he played the Eagles.
What year was that? You remember?
That was like really early. Like it wasn't one with Nick Foles, like when they lost. It was one way earlier than that. It might have not been the Super Bowl. It might have been something else. I don't know. But I've always been a football fan. I was a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Like obviously because my dad played for them and he coached for them too. So
okay.
I got to be around some of their players. Like met Ben Roethlisberger.
Nice.
Met Troy Polamalu. Like so I met all those players when like the Steelers were rolling. But I was just like, I was a kid. Like football was cool. I think the biggest thing, like when I was in high school when Odell was going crazy.
Oh, okay.
And like that to me was like, I was like, damn, like even though I didn't play offense at the time, I was like, bro, he's lit.
Did he make you want to play offense?
Yeah, bro. Like that shit he was so turned. Like
had a cool little run.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna front.
Like the shit it was different, bro. Like everybody was dyeing their hair, everybody was getting the same cut. Like
but it was off of that one catch.
I know.
It was off of the one catch and he just capitalized off of that.
Yeah. And then
which is cool because whoever behind him was a good marketing genius.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to knock him and making his bread. And, he had, like 2 big catches? I think he had one with the Browns or some shit where he had like a little diamond catch or some shit. But,
yeah, that was one play I was like, he's turned. He's too turned. Him, Jalen Ramsey when he was on the Jaguars, that shit was lit. Those were like when football was like hella cool. Like
yeah.
Like I was in high school seeing those guys, like wanted to be like them, like kind of like taking their swag and stuff like that.
Right. So speaking of Jalen Ramsey, you got drafted. Jalen Ramsey, you played the season under him. So was that surreal? Was that surreal seeing him in your locker room?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because you like, damn, I'm really playing with one of the greats. And on top of that too, like you kind of realize like some of these dudes really got money for real, like
long bread,
like generational.
Sheesh.
You can't emulate. Like to me, I was like, oh, let me see if I can take parts of his game. You can't emulate what he does. Like,
did you try to learn from him? Was you like underneath him? Because that was your rookie year, right?
Yeah, like I was like, my body doesn't have the physical capability to do what he does, like in practice. Like he's just such a freak athlete. He's super smart too. Like understands the game, all that shit. So, but it was just cool, like to see kind of how he viewed the game, how he played the game. Like super physical, could cover fast. Like if you wanted to make a prototypical corner, like you would really emulate him because he got everything.
Yeah.
But he's a dope person off the field too. He's hella cool.
Where was your lockers at? Was it
next to him?
Oh, your locker was right next to him? Oh man, what kind of luck is that, bro?
Yeah, it was wild.
You get drafted by the hometown team. You get one of the greatest corners in the league at the moment, at the time. Some can argue even today. And you get your locker right next to him. So going in, was you like picking his brain, or were you just sitting back watching how he moved?
I was just sitting back watching. Mind you, I wasn't really around like that a lot just because I had the injury.
Okay.
So like, I had to focus on like rehab and all that stuff, but just kind of like when I was watching practice and all that stuff, like seeing what he was doing and kind of like his football IQ and all that was...
Putting himself in position to make plays and all that?
It was different. And he got that dog mentality, you know.
Right. Well, he showed out on the field.
He's a very, I will say this, he's a very passionate person. Meaning, like, the shit talking, all that stuff, that shit for real. Like, he's doing that all the time. So
Right. So, what part of your game are you focusing on improving as you continue to develop in the league?
I would just say, I think the biggest thing I want to work on is, like, ball production.
Okay.
You know, I'm still.
And what does that mean for
Yeah, like for
the
me,
amateur?
Yeah, it would be just like putting myself in positions to picks, you know, force fumbles, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm
But
still-
is that you or is that scheme?
combination of both?
Okay.
I think there's just like some better opportunities where I can, you know, be a little bit more, take some more risk, you know.
Right.
And you know, the risk to reward will help me get those interceptions or whatever.
Right.
But that's
So do you feel like you play too safe right now? Are you not taking gambles? Or?
I wouldn't say I'm playing too safe, but I think there have been opportunities where I could have been like, you know what, let me just shoot my shot.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And don't really like second guess.
Yeah.
I think that'll help me, you know, make those splash plays. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm just out there like a mannequin, but I think there were definitely opportunities where I could have done a little bit more.
Right. So for the athletes that's entering the draft, coming in to this next draft, what advice would you give, you know, a lot of these athletes who may be on the fence or unsure or maybe they just believe in themselves? What kind of advice would you give them?
I would just say enjoy the process. For me, like, I was still young and I was taking it like very seriously. You can take it really, really seriously and you should, but at the same time, like, give yourself some grace because when you transition from all that training day in and day out, and then you got rookie minicamp and all that stuff, like, just make sure you take time to yourself and you're not too hard on yourself, you know? Because for me, it was like, I was struggling to kind of like enjoy myself through the whole process because I was taking it so seriously where I was just like way too locked in. You know, like I wish there were some days where I was like took a day to myself and all that stuff. Like, am I mad where I'm at? Absolutely not. But, you know, it was like the mental stress of it, you know, all the people that are in your ear and, you know, parents, friends, family, like there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna want to be involved, and you just have to make sure that your mental is ready to take, you know, all the external factors that are gonna pop up. But at the end of the day, just have fun with it, enjoy yourself, and make sure you sign with a good agent too. That's another thing about that.
Big facts. Do your research first. Do your research. Everybody's sharing the same agent, so you should know somebody who could point you in the right direction. Yeah. All right, man. So that's pretty much the end of the interview. But we do have a little segment in this interview, and it's called Think Before You Speak. So I got 5 questions for you.
All right.
And just think deep about it before you answer.
All right, bet.
All right. So question number 1. What's your favorite jersey, sports jersey? What's your favorite sports jersey of all time?
That's easy for me. Kobe Bryant, number 8.
The number 8?
Number 8.
The number 8, the bean?
The bean, like when he had that was like...
What color?
Yellow, classic.
The yellow?
The yellow.
Classic? Mm-hmm. Okay, for sure.
I had to write that one.
All right, so name the most random NBA player.
Brian Scalabrine.
Brian Scalabrine. Big Red.
Big Red.
The USC legend. Okay. All right, so what are your top 5 fruits?
Top 5 fruits. You want me to listen in order?
Nah, it don't have to be in order.
Okay. I'm going to go pear, raspberry, blueberry, pomegranate, strawberry.
All right.
Pear, raspberry, pomegranate, blueberry, strawberry.
What fruit won't you eat?
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
I don't like kiwi.
What about melons? You eat like?
I don't like cantaloupe or
Me
honeydew.
neither. That's
I
out.
can't. You know, to be honest, I don't even like watermelon like that.
Yeah, for real?
Nah,
Oh, okay. I can do the watermelon.
I can't eat watermelon like that.
All right,
Sorry, y'all.
He said, sorry, black people.
Sorry, y'all. I can't do
Sorry,
it.
my
Like,
peoples.
that's just straight water. Like,
Right. All right, so if money wasn't a factor, what would you do with your time?
if money wasn't a factor, I get into cars. So, you know, I had the opportunity to kind of like get into cars recently, and that whole thing is like, just like seeing motors and all the different modifications that you can do to a car.
Yeah.
It kind of like definitely piqued my interest.
So like more sport cars, or is it like trucks, raising them, lifting them, lowering them?
Yeah, so
engine work.
I'd get into Japanese cars. So like your Nissans, your Hondas, even like your Lexuses. I'm like, they call them like JDM cars, and what I would do is I like build them up. So that's one thing I want to do in like the near future is kind of get like an old JDM car, build it up, like mod it, like mod the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So, and then another, like on the flip side is get into like American muscle, because some of those cars like really hold their value.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the lowriders and all that stuff, they
yeah.
hold their value.
They do.
So like kind of getting into that stuff and like learning more about motors and all that stuff, so that when one day, like when the opportunity arises,
Okay.
I'll be able to like.
You plan on getting an old school one of these days?
Yeah, there's a
Get a toy?
Yeah, there's a Camaro, 1969 Camaro SS that I saw. That was like dope. That I was like, man, if I, you know, might have to treat myself.
So what would be your dream classic car?
I don't know. That's tough. Like, I had a list of them. I actually had a list of them, but like which ones I would get. I know the Camaro was one of them, but I think the dream classic car that I was talking about would have to be, you know, like the Buick Grand Nationals.
Yep.
Yeah, those would be dope. So
All
like,
I ever wanted was a Grand
yeah.
National.
You know, those would be cool to have. I mean, there's a ton of different cars that you can get into, but
Right.
I think getting into like those old school American muscle cars would be cool, like to drive it, like weekend drive, especially out here in California.
Yeah. Get on the 405,
405.
sun down,
Yeah.
top down.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, last question, man. If you could have dinner with one person in this world, dead or alive, who would it be?
Dead or alive, have dinner with one person. Dang, that's a tough question. I can go way back, like it don't matter.
Yeah, let's go. We
I'd
go
probably
Bruce
do-
Lee, Bruce Leroy.
I probably do. To be honest, for me, I'd probably do. I'm not probably gonna learn anything, but I know they're gonna be paparazzi. Michael Jackson.
You said Michael Jordan?
Michael
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. The reason why I say that is, and that's kind of, that can be like that's, you know, of course.
Yeah.
But people were saying he was so famous, and that was like, he was known worldwide before the media.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So like, I would want to see like.
Just be a fly on the wall?
Yeah, just be a
kinda
fly on the wall. Like,
yeah,
see what, like,
yeah.
what it was really talking about. Because I've seen clips of, like, people at his concert fainting.
That's
I've seen
true.
him, like,
Yeah,
he
that's
might have been
true.
in, like, he was in, like, an Asian country, and he was doing, like, press, and he just moved, and all these cameras were I know you've seen that clip. So
Yeah.
just kind of be on the fly.
His impact on this world was crazy, man. And his music touched so many different people. So that's good that you say that. That's gonna shake things up a little bit, because, like you said, you may not learn something, but just the experience, right? Just to be like, damn, bro, I kicked it with Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? He had the monkey and everything.
Man,
Bubbles was kicking it with us and all of that.
wow.
Nah. Yeah, man, so that's the end of our episode, man. Appreciate you, Q.
Man, appreciate you.
Man, thanks for always coming through for me, man.
Appreciate
You already
you,
know,
man.
man. And y'all tune in. We're going to have another big guest coming up, so appreciate the support. Keep this rocking. Let's go.
Do it.